Hello, everyone. Karen Glasser here, and welcome to Minding Your Mental Health. I'm here with my son and co-host, Rob Glasser. How you doing, Rob?
Not
I
bad,
sound
thank
like
you. How
that
you doing?
guy. I sound like that guy. Okay, let's get ready to rumble. Okay, but we're not going to do that. So, on this show, we talk about topics that shape mental health today. We teach the importance of inclusion and share why we should be kind. So, whether you're here live or on replay, we love you. Make sure you tell us where you are tuning in from in the comments below. So, today we are talking about habits. What are they? How we build them, all those wonderful things. And Rob, I know you pulled a great article called How to Build Good Habits and Break Bad Ones. So, why don't you start out with the very first one? What is it that they tell us?
Sure. So, opencolleges.edu.au wrote this article, as you mentioned. Excuse me. And obviously, beginning of the year, why not talk about ways to make your veterans? Number one, make it about your identity. So that's an interesting one. Um, Earlier today, I was on a session and we talked about the difference between intention versus resolution. And my identity says that resolution is not really a happy word. It's actually a very bad word. It's like, you know what? So, intention. So, make it about your identity. What kind of person are you looking to become? What are you looking to do? And what are you intending to um, create? That way, you a little bit less pressure and you don't really have to. And again, I don't really go for the success. I go for the as long as you do everything you can to try to do what you wanted, that's the goal of intentions.
Okay.
So make it about you,
Sounds
nobody else.
good. What's number two?
Number two, excuse me, um, create an optimal environment for your personality to facilitate said good habits. Um, This one, look, I was reading through it, and again, I'm trying to come at it from an opinion base because obviously I don't want to just read what other people wrote. Optimal environment is kind of a vague term, but what I think they mean is put yourself in a place that you can get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
If you give yourself, I don't know, outstanding things that probably won't work, more than likely you're not going to reach what you're going.
Right.
So put yourself in an environment, so to speak, as they say, where you can actually do the work. Knowing me, one reason why I'm switching my words this year is because knowing from last year, the words were different and the words didn't work. And I put myself in an environment that didn't make much sense. And I couldn't really get the job done because I was looking at it backwards. Now that I'm looking at it the correct way, um, it's easier to do. And it's not so hard when you fail a little bit because you're still doing it the way that makes sense.
So, is there an example for that in terms of putting yourself in the environment? Does that mean like
So
if
yeah, so for instance, one thing that I'm looking at for the videos that we're doing here, plus the other ones I do, is to do more opinion-based chat because I'm noticing that people prefer to hear it from the heart and to hear my take on said topic. And I know that from already a couple of videos I've done, I've gotten actual responses to questions I've asked on live video.
right?
And I was actually shocked and I was going, oh, people actually are listening. They're not just here watching for the hell of it, they're actually listening. So that's an example there. You put yourself in a way where you actually get the outcome you want. And lo and behold, I did, and
Right.
you just want to keep that up. And that's the habit. You want to
That's
keep
the
that.
habit. So that's what so that becomes the habit that you put yourself in the new environment and you keep doing it. And you get the
Right. And you might not notice it immediately, and you might notice it immediately. It might drop off, it might come back. But the more you do it, 98% you're going to be getting more often,
right. Right.
your results.
So what's number 3 on that list?
All right, number three, consider the compounding effect of both good and bad. Just like the yin and yang of Chinese culture, you can't have one without the other. So I don't even know what that's from necessarily. I just know I know it. So their idea here is you can't really do one without having something else as well.
Okay.
So, for instance, if you look at a negative thing saying, oh, well, maybe I didn't make that job or I didn't get the job I wanted, Well, it's not so negative when you go, okay, I can move on to something maybe greater and better.
Right.
So compounding really defining means put them both together. So what you're going to do is you take what would be considered bad, mix
Mhm.
it with the good to use the actual full, because you want that. I don't know what they call it in the yin and yang in the thing, but the neutral section basically is a mix of both. And that's really how you
Right.
not survive, but that's how you live correctly, I guess,
Right.
by mixing both. And it sounds funny, right? But even talking to my therapist and stuff, if you bypass every negative thing you do, you actually screw yourself up because you're not actually keeping in mind what didn't work
Right.
in order to make it work, right? So
Right. And this is all coming from James Clear, who we're going to be talking about his book, Atomic Habits. This actually
okay,
is what he's talking about in terms of stacking something that's positive with something that you maybe not want to do. Like you don't really want to be on the treadmill, but you can't wait to watch that great movie on Netflix. And so you pair it and you get on it and you combine the bad and the good, right?
some treadmills even have TVs now, so there you
There
go.
you go.
Uh, that's weird, but sure.
So what's number 5?
Number 4.
Oh, number 4. Sorry. What's number 4?
Let's do 4 before 5, shall we?
Okay, let's do it.
Choose the best solution to whatever it is you're trying to figure out. Now, this one's kind of the twofold. So, I
I'm putting this up here. Hey, Paula, thanks for commenting. Love and marriage go together.
know where I heard that
That's
off of Married with Children,
Thank you, Paula.
which I don't know why. That was not a good show, but that's where I heard the song, that TV show. Okay, so pick the best solution to said problem or difficulty. And again, this kind of goes back to my first thing, intention versus resolution.
Right.
You don't need to have a problem or a solution to have to better something. You just want to better something for the hell of it because it's going to make you feel better. So I would tweak this a little bit to pick the best end goal or best idea or intention. Let's use intention because I like intention.
Right.
To whatever it is you're trying to figure out. So, for instance, using kind of the treadmill, same thing. Let's say I used to love going hiking. It's a little cold right now, but I would still love to go back out. So, an intention could be try to walk around the block 5-10 minutes a day. It's not a hike, but it's outside for a few minutes.
Right.
Now, something we do here, we drive. So I'm in the car, kind of in my safety net when we're there. But going out in the car for 5 or 10 minutes is also towards the goal of being out.
Exactly.
So pick a thing, an intention, an idea. If you want to use the word idea, that's fine.
Right.
That will aim you towards what you want. The goal here is not to have a goal. It's to just kind of figure out what you want to do and make you feel better. You don't have to have an ending puzzle piece. You just have to kind of
have an idea of where you're going. I'm curious.
Gears turning.
We have people that are watching. We have people live on today. What do you call them? You call them resolutions? You call them intentions? You call them goals? And then how do you set out? Let us know what you're thinking right now. All right, Rob, let's move on to number 5.
All right. See what distractions are actually what they are. Look at them for what they truly are. It's a distraction. It's kind of like, oh, you look out the window. Oh, look, bird. It's like the squirrel joke with the dog and Up, and all he sees is squirrel, and he turns his thing. That's all it is. It's a distraction. It's really part of life is what you're supposed to do. The fact that you can notice all this is actually good. It means your brain's working. It means you're seeing stuff. You're going around. But take it for what it is. Take it for a word as a definition. It's really just something that might be there in the moment.
Right.
But it's not necessarily going to be there full time.
Sounds good to me. So, what about number 6?
All right. So, I'm not going to read the whole one because it's rather long, but it's called Incorporate the Laws of Behavior Change.
Right.
And basically, it's categorizing them in 2 spots. Attractive, not so attractive. The ones that aren't so attractive to your well-being, ones you probably don't want to do.
Right.
The ones that are attractive to your well-being, are the ones you want to do. And that's really basic, simplifying it super down. They literally have a list which you guys can check out. But really, it's just a matter of the things you don't want, column B. The things you do want, column A. It's like the genie in Aladdin, take some from here and do whatever.
Right.
That's what number 6 is. It's just know what they are in a list if you can.
The bad and the good, right? The bad.
Exactly. The bad and the good. You can use both for later usage, right?
Exactly. So I know number 7, we're going to be putting systems ahead of goals. So they actually are saying, don't talk about goals so much. Let's get those systems in place. So what is that all about?
Right. So to me, it's a matter of doing the work to get to what you're doing. You can't just wake up one day a billionaire as much as we'd like it. You have to actually put the steps in. The system, in my mind, is the actual work. So I would replace the word system with work. And basically they're saying put in the work to get to your goal. The work will change depending on who you are and what you do, but it's the same idea for everybody. You get up, you do the thing, you get the prize, you're happy. Boom.
Right. But I think that what he's really referring to is things like if you finally create that habit to keep your house clean, and you do it once, but you have nothing in place to remember to go clean your house again, that's not going to become a habit that you're going to do. I'm going to put up Krista's comment here. I love the word intentions better than resolutions or goals. I was chatting about this with a friend last night, and we agreed has to a better feel to it. There's no end to strive for necessary.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's what I was talking about with my therapist earlier. There's
right.
You don't need to have the goal. You don't need to have the success. All you're doing is just saying, hey, what do you want to do today?
Right.
And what are you going to do? If it doesn't get done, it's not the end of the world. You do it again another day.
Right.
It's more or less, what resources do I have to use? What can I take advantage of today to do it? And that's your thing. That's exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Good comment.
Now, the last one, if you don't mind me taking, create unique context for developing different habits. To me, that's a really fancy way of saying figure out different ways to create new habits you want. Simple as that. Whether it's a list or a journal like you, whether it's internal dialogue like me, or whether it's a mixture of both things, you make the things work in the way you want. It's not going to be everybody's same thing. And I'm sure when we get to the books, you will notice that each of them have their own criteria, so to speak.
Right.
Make your own criteria. If X, Y, and Z doesn't work, go to ABC, maybe QRS, whatever you want to do. Pick what works and make those habits stick. So passing it back to you now.
All right. So I think originally I was going to start with Tiny Habits, which is the original habit book that James Clear, when he did Atomic Habits, it literally came from him reading Tiny Habits. But because we're on Atomic Habits right now and on the whole thing with James Clear, and again, guys, they all basically say the same thing. It's just in different languages. So in Atomic Habits, which is a phenomenal book, here's the book. It's a great book. It's not a hard read at all. I suggest you go check it out. Take your camera out, go scan the QR code, and you can go check it out online. Don't do it now, though. So first of all, he says that there are 4 laws of behavior change. That's his basic foundation. Don't have an obvious daily cue to exercise. You're going to forget to do it. Don't have an easy exercise routine. You're going to perform the easy, but the familiar, like watching TV. Don't find exercise appealing. You'll resist exercising. Don't get immediate satisfaction. You'll lack the motivation. So he says 3 things: stacking and starting. Now, we just talked about this in what you were saying in those different things. You stack a habit. That means, for instance, going and having a trigger for that habit. So let's say you want to go brush your teeth, but you want to remember always after you brush your teeth to take your vitamins. So that's just a tiny little thing. Instead of saying my entire morning routine, I'm going to get up, I'm going to wash my face, I'm going to brush my teeth, I'm going to eat breakfast.
Right.
Add the tiny little thing first. So for instance, read before bed each night becomes read 1 page, to the very tiniest thing. Study for class could become just open my notes in my book, right? Second thing he says is syncing and scoring. And you did mention that already. When you connect and synchronize an experience that's happy with something that you really don't want to do, there's a chance that you're going to be motivated to do it. And so those are the 2 things that I think are very, very important that we want to share on this. The second book is actually the first one, and everything came from this book, B.J. Fogg, Tiny Habits.
PhD, there you go.
Yeah, this guy's pretty bright. Founder of Stanford's Behavioral Design Lab.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty impressive, right?
That doesn't say much. What does?
Yeah, exactly. So B.J. Fogg, this a PhD, he has 3 different parts that he talks about. First of all, shrink behavior, very similar to what James Clear says, right? If the task is too hard, you're not going to be motivated to do it because you need much higher levels of motivation. But if the task is easy, you're going to be motivated because you can get it done quickly.
Right.
So the tiniest version of a 60-minute meditation practice could be 1 breath meditation. Just start, right? The tiniest version of daily planning routine is writing down 1 to-do item rather than I have to do 10 things. Very similar to that article, what you have there. Number 2, identify the action prompt. And he very, very clearly talks about action prompts, meaning something that actually happens. It's a movement. Again, brush your teeth, take your vitamins. It's an action. Rather than it's an external prompt that you have a Post-it note sitting on your desk that says you're supposed to go brush your teeth. Now you have to get up. You have to walk over and brush your teeth. Does that make sense? How he's defining these?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like most of that stuff is common, but I guess if you don't do it regularly enough, it could be harder to do.
Right, and then it's no longer a habit, right? If you're not doing it regularly, it's not a habit anymore.
Right, exactly.
And then finally, part 3, he says, grow your behavior with some shine. Guess what he means by shine? He means applaud. Tell yourself how proud you are that you did that action, right? I know you like, and I know how much you like to be told how good you do. I like to be told. So, but give yourself that shine. I love that. I love the idea of shine. Now, the third book is The Compound Effect. And let me bring it up here. And this is by Daryl Hardy. Now, Darren Hardy, rather, not Daryl. Darren Hardy. I actually have been to a conference with him. And again, he talks about tiny habits when put together become the actual event that you're trying to do.
Right.
It's the principle of reaping huge rewards from a series of small, smart choices. So, first of all, he talks about choice. We have choices every day, right? We make decisions every day as to what we're going to do. What he suggests you do at the end of the day is to look at that list of choices that you did. And if some of them don't resonate or are not really with what you want to do and where you want to go, then that's not a good choice. Get rid of it. Cross out any choice that doesn't work. Second thing he says is why power. And I love this. We always talk about why do you do things? You do it. You have a strong why. I do it because I do what I do because I want to make an impact on people. Rob, why do you do what you do? Why do you do your podcast?
I mean, other than being enjoyable, yeah, I want to, give my 2 cents into anything I can, help with.
Right. And if you didn't have a why, you probably would stop doing it.
You probably shouldn't be doing that to begin with. Yeah.
Right. So he literally goes and says, you have whys. It can be a negative why or it can be a positive why. And I love this. It doesn't have to be noble. It just has to move you on, he says. So either it can be a love one. I am doing this to provide a better future for my family. That's a love. It's a positive thing. The negative hate thing, I'm going to do this to prove such and such is wrong, or I'm doing this to defeat somebody. Interesting, right? So you're motivated, but sometimes it's a negative or a positive. And finally, he talks about bookend routines. So you want to build your performance around world-class routines. So he says, in the morning, review, and he bookends it. That's what he means by bookends. In the morning when you wake up, review your vision, your mission, set your top priorities for the day, your one task you have to get done. And then at the nighttime, on the bookend, your nighttime, reflect on the choices you made during the day, be grateful for the wins that you had, and curious about how you can improve for tomorrow. I love these books. And what I love about it is that if one doesn't speak to you in your language, one of the other ones will, right?
Sure.
Because they're all in different kinds of ways. So I suggest you go check out these books, read the book cover. look at the book cover and see
Mhm.
if there's something at the back of the book cover and see if it speaks to you or if it doesn't. Do you have any habit books that you read, Rob, or is this really it's more of the action of the habit for you?
I mean, I'm the opposite. And this is no offense to any of them; they're very good at what they do. It's just a matter, it's you do what you do for the reason you're doing it, and only you can do that. I don't mind, hearing an idea or so, but to be honest, I would, going to a motivational speaker, even though we talk about them a lot, like Tony Robbins or one of those, as fun as they are to kind of hear and how, boasting they are,
Yeah.
it doesn't resonate with me at all. As opposed to if I just go, okay, I'm doing this for here and this is why, that's going to get me more said to do it
Right.
because it's coming out of my mouth versus
Right.
a professional. And again, these guys are professionals. There's no harm in what they're doing. It's just a different format of doing it. It's one reason why, learning or hearing, like a historical thing is more of an interest than being taught how to do history because I don't care as much how you do history. I just want to know the story. And then I can make my own judgments from that. And it goes with the habits too. And I think, I'll use the guy from Pokemon, somebody who, is autistic on the spectrum, who really, looking at him as a kid, probably was a kind of a funky, weird guy because he was out there playing with bugs, but yet he created this giant empire. And he's probably laughing at people going, haha, look at me now. But it's the same type of idea. It's not a matter of why you're doing it or what somebody else thinks about it. If you have your passion to do it and you have the habits to do it, try it. If it doesn't pan out, all good.
Right.
But you did the effort to do it, and that's what the pat on the back is for. It's the fact that you took a couple years or whatever to do it, or not even years, just a couple weeks to do it. And that's for me what the habit is. I don't care what the final thing is actually going to come from, but knowing that I am pushing myself to do it and that I came up with it, that means more than the $1 billion that, somebody, what I mean, from somebody making. So
and the reason why we're talking about this today, obviously, it's the new year. And we all tend to start the new year with, this year is going to be the best year yet. And I'm going to do these 3,000 things. And I'm going to, it doesn't work. It doesn't work that way, guys. I love the word intentions, Rob. I just think that is a perfect word, that we put out our intentions for the year. I mean, we have an intention to do a show every single week for minding your mental health and to make an impact. We want to make sure that our listeners, our followers, our watchers are getting the content that they want, and also some helpful things, which leads us into some of the resources we want to make sure that you know. And that is, if you are suffering right now from anything that's mental health related and you need some support, go check out some of these resources, nimh.nih.gov. That's the National Institute of Mental Health. Go out and check NAMI. That is the National Alliance on Mental Illness, NAMI.org. And if you're so inclined, pick up a copy of our book. And this is Finding Your Passion. And because we're at that stage right now where I think we need to find our passion, right? We need to find our passion. It's the beginning of the year. And if you don't know how to find your passion, go to mindingyourmentalhealth.com and check it out. All right. Last but not least, this is the 988 number. So if right now you're struggling and you need some help, dial that number. It will get you to the right place. It will take you wherever you need to go. Again, guys, we are here to support you. We ourselves suffer from what we suffer from, and we want to make sure that this is a safe place. So finally, any last minute thoughts, Rob?
I'm glad you asked, because actually I do. On my computer screen, I went on Canva, I put in some Pokemon pictures, and I have an intentions thing. So every time I get on my computer, I see the 5 things for the year that are my intentions. And why? Because that's the best way to do it. I know I'm always going to be in here. I'm always going to be on the computer for a few minutes. That's what I did. So I'm actually going to do that because I want to bring that up. And you can go on a site like Canva, a free site like that, and you can make your own little, doohickey thing. And I love it because I don't have to worry about putting it somewhere. It's in my computer.
It's your screensaver, right? It's literally
it's my background. It's my background, and I got to put my little characters on.
I love it.
Love it.
I love it too. And I did that too, but I did a vision board. So Canva too, you can go into Canva and put the things on of things that I'm hoping that I have intention to do. Like I want to walk and I want to drink water and things like that. So I do the same thing. I love that, guys. Let us know in the chat, whether you're here live or replay, what are you doing to keep yourselves moving forward? All right. Sounds cool. So go out, give somebody an awesome day, and we'll see you next week on Minding Your Mental Health. Goodbye, everyone.